Positive Thinking and Mindset. Hi, this is Dr. Linda. I'd like to talk with you today about the problems with the common mindset about sugar. Increasing consumption of sugar and high fructose corn syrup, HFCS, has had negative consequences for millions of people in the world today. These products are now seen as a leading cause in recent epidemic rise of major chronic diseases, such as obesity, diabetes, cardiovascular disease, kidney and liver failure, which rapidly become inconvenient and expensive before they culminate in early death. You may have primarily a positive experience with sugar. If you notice swings in energy, difficulty in concentration, or carry excess weight, these inconveniences may represent a problem brought about by high sugar and fructose consumption. Most people don't even realize the amount of sugar and fructose that are present in the foods we eat. There are new resources directing our attention to the toxic properties of sugar in our diets. A CBS investigative report by Sanjay Gupta was broadcast in April 2012. A California endocrinologist, Dr. Robert Lustig, indicates that the average individual now consumes 144 pounds of sugar annually. He commented in the broadcast interview with Sanjay Gupta that new research coming out of some of America's most respected institutions is starting to find that sugar, the way many people are eating it today, is a toxin and could be a driving force behind some of the country's leading killers, including heart disease. Dr. Lustig believes that added sugar has plunged America into a public health crisis. He states that obesity, type 2 diabetes, hypertension, and heart disease are linked to sugar. Dr. Lustig's lectures and publications on the toxicity of sugar can be located via the Internet, bookstores, and YouTube. A Google search of Robert H. Lustig will provide more specifics on the research conclusions required to evaluate your personal use of sugar-related products. Some conclusions formulated from the book Sugar, the Bitter Truth by Robert H. Lustig are provided here. Most of adults today have regularly consumed high quantities of sugar and HFCS over their lifetime. Many of these same individuals are treated for high blood sugar, blockages of critical arteries, extensive cardiovascular ailments, and critical liver damage. All of these ailments are attributable to the same dietary factor of high consumption of sugar and fructose. These are conditions that shorten a person's lifespan by 20 to 30 years. Think about the implications. If you expect to live to the age of 85, you could die of a preventable disease at 65 and lose all of the good life years you planned to enjoy. Any individual is susceptible to damage from the current annual high consumption of sugar-related products. We continue to consume more of the sugar and fructose-laced foods and beverages, while at the same time we get less of the nutrition needed to maintain and rebuild our bodily systems. We need to understand the ways that sugary products damage our physical functioning before we are willing to challenge the paradox of how we carry on a blissful relationship with the same sweetened foods that are killing us. A direct correlation has been shown between the dramatic rise in the past 10 years of youngsters being diagnosed with type 2 diabetes and the fact that their diets contain so much sugar and fructose, a consumption pattern that begins very early in their lives. This is not a genetic cause, but a lifestyle food product cause. An immediate threat to life versus a chronic threat to life. There's a general lack of concern about the rise in sugar consumption and the long-term deadly consequences. The way we perceive things, our mindset, governs our responses. One of the reasons for the unparalleled surge in sugar consumption involves our current mindset. We don't see any problem with our sugar and fructose consumption because it doesn't kill us shortly after we eat it. Yet we experience an alarmed reaction when something is seen as an immediate threat to life, recently illustrated in late 2014 when the Ebola virus was brought to the United States. There was a comprehensive full-scale alert on the perception of the immediate threat to any person exposed to the virus. The Center for Disease Control issued updates and statistics to remind everyone to be on the alert for the threat of exposure. They tracked cases and reported on the worldwide tally of deaths from the recent Ebola outbreaks. One release stated that 70% of the people who have now been infected with the Ebola virus have died within 2 weeks. That underscores the power of perceiving an immediate threat. Our fear response equals the warning issued about the threat. On the other hand, sugar is a dangerous food additive people are consuming in greater quantities. 144 pounds is the latest calculation of our yearly consumption. That is staggering. This intake has been creeping higher and higher without our actual awareness. Most of us don't even realize the amount of sugar in the foods we eat, even though we have been exposed to regular increases in sugar and fructose over the past 30 years. The amount of sugar and fructose in our diets has more recently been shown to cause conditions over time that result in disability and early death. The threat is not recognized as real because chronic deterioration and poor health do not come about immediately. Excessive sugar consumption is by definition a chronic threat rather than the immediate threat that terrifies us. The result is that the primary cause for deteriorating health and early death for so many of us does not register as a threat. Instead, we focus on the pleasurable experience of consuming the foods we enjoy. After all, there are no obituaries that identify the actual common cause of early death. Millions of people die from conditions resulting from a diet high in sugar. Sugar-related disease is managed with insulin for decades, while the sufferer copes with diabetes, infections, brittle bones, failing eyesight, lowered immunity, and more. Finally, and too soon, a fall, a stroke, or an infection finishes the job, and the early death of this person is mourned by loved ones. We have difficulty seeing that sugar is a silent killer that lurks in schools, offices, hospitals, kitchens, fast food outlets, and on grocery shelves. Sugary products are not prohibited by the agencies that we presume to be the guardians of our health. Parents fill their grocery carts and their children's stomachs with cookies, sugary cereal, and sugary drinks that advertisers seduce customers to enjoy. Sugar is a critical and chronic threat that is sold with sweet smiles, and there is not a hint of alarm about the reality of the threat. Habits, beliefs, and mindsets evolve over the years. There are challenges to reducing the consumption of sugar. Be aware that habit exerts a powerful influence. Years of pleasurable indulgence turn into a habit. We share common habits, such as a sweet treat is used regularly as a reward or a stress reliever. Sugar-infused products are associated with family, friends, and organizations. Many celebrated holidays feature specific candy treats and desserts. Circuses, spectator sports, county fairs, and socializing often feature many sweet treats. Consuming sugar and fructose begins with the very young at a time before they develop judgment and when taste expectations are being formed. Sugar and fructose are hiding in beverages and food products, condiments, and sauces. The consumption of sugar-related products is almost universally promoted and practiced. Sweet taste, brain receptors. We may not have noticed how frequently sugar-laced products are advertised and promoted. The thrust of advertising is aided by the nearly universal appeal of sugary foods. We just happen to have special receptors in our brains that respond very positively to something sweet. MRI scans demonstrate that the brain responds, lights up, with sugar intake the same way the brain responds to the intake of cocaine. This warns us of an addictive quality about sugar and fructose. It is purported that this is an evolutionary development that protected us from poisoning ourselves out in the wild because sweet things were safe to eat and sour things were more likely to be poisonous. There was good news in times past because those sweet things were naturally growing vegetables and fruits. In today's world, we buy the sweet stuff in packages in which salt and sugar are regularly used to preserve the items until consumed. The fact is that our brains are still responding to the sugar in our diets like it is necessary for survival, when in reality, it threatens our survival. Challenge your belief and mindsets. There are challenges to making a change in our current mindset about sugar. One confounding thing is that it is unthinkable for something that has been shown to be responsible for our most serious health problems continues to be everywhere. We have learned to enjoy various forms of sugar-infused foods and beverages over the years to today. We may even be in the throes of a love affair with sugar. But a person cannot be blamed for what they do not know. Billions of dollars are spent to influence us with false information and distortions by companies who profit from our innocent enjoyment of the sweet stuff. It is clear that we are uninformed and misinformed about the inherent dangers of our increasingly high consumption of sugar-related products. There is no warning against high sugar intake, and we are constantly encouraged through advertising to enjoy more of these items. Remember the ad for a certain candy bar which says it transforms you from a crabby person to a congenial person? It's a lie in the form of advertising. It is uncomfortable to be faced with a fact that goes against the accepted view, because we normally prefer to remain enveloped in the comfort of sharing the same beliefs, pleasures, habits, and indulgences with others like us. So don't mentally beat yourself up about the years of indulging in sugar. Prepare yourself to be shocked when you discover the bold and audacious manner in which we are constantly being bombarded with false and misleading information. More details on the subject are found in a book by investigative reporter Michael Moss titled Sugar, Salt, Fat: How the Food Giants Hooked Us. The bottom line in the food industry. The competition for our business among major food companies affects the amount of sugar and fructose in our diets, because the companies produce more and more tempting sweets in order to gain their market share and increase their profits. They advertise, promote, and dominate critical shelf space in the marketplace to manipulate consumers. Be aware of the fact that the bottom line for these companies is not your health. Increased sales and profits made by selling billions of dollars in sweets is the goal for the food industry giants. They have taken control of food-related products known as sugar and HFCS. The use of such products are not regulated, but are habit-forming. The products can be produced cheaply and sold by the company for an enormous profit. What more could food companies want than the opportunity to score huge profits year after year by concocting products with sugary additives to sell? Sugar and fructose new awareness. 1. Massive increase in sugar consumption and fructose has led to massive increases in overweight and obesity, with increasingly large numbers of people becoming diabetic. 2. Promotion and availability of sugar and fructose come about through greater availability and the low cost of these products. 3. Food companies compete for their market share, making billions and billions of dollars by increasing their sales of high sugar products, regardless of the damage inflicted on the health of the consumer. 4. Media campaigns are full of lies about products that encourage higher consumption. 5. The addictive quality of sugar causes brain receptors to respond positively to sweet tastes. These and other factors represent blocks to the reduction in the amount of sugar and HFCS consumed, at the same time that they underscore the absolute necessity of doing so. Your personal mission to restore vitality and longevity. It is now necessary to know that the regular use of sugar and fructose is a major threat to your health. You understand more about the current popular mindset regarding sugar and are aware of the constant barrage of advertising that encourages people to indulge. Knowing that food companies have money riding on your choice to indulge in their products is a very different thing from accepting the lies that are told through advertising. Your mental filter must be cleared of the notion that some agency is in charge of protecting the public from chronic or long-term threats such as these. The Food and Drug Administration is charged with identifying and regulating substances and products that are an immediate threat to life, rather than to prevent chronic threats to your health and life. It is your personal choice and responsibility to guard against the products, substances, or activities that result in chronic and deadly conditions. This personal mission requires taking steps to incorporate practices that reduce your risk for all major disease. These are the same initiatives that radically improve and restore your vital health, productivity, and longevity. Your positive mindset affirms each day that you are conscious of being in charge of your own vital health. For this reason, you commit yourself to cut back on daily consumption of sugar and fructose, while you add in more foods in their natural state, such as fresh fruits and vegetables. As you transition to a greater appreciation for the unsweetened foods, you may use an alternative non-sugar or fructose substitute sweetener such as stevia. It is made from a tea leaf, is natural without the negative neurological side effects of concern with other artificial sweeteners. Stevia, sold in grocery markets and health food stores, is to be used sparingly as it has a sweeter taste than sugar. Drink plenty of water to clear toxins from the body. Begin your day with clear water, either warm or cool, and feel free to add some lemon juice. The water or lemon water will be especially helpful to improve mental clarity and reduce body pain while the toxins from sugar and sucrose are cleared. Continue to drink water throughout the day and remember that fruits naturally have a high water content. Take steps to notice and avoid foods that contain added sugar and fructose. One easy answer is to consume more daily natural fruit. Choosing fresh fruit over processed and packaged fruits is a significant step to reducing sugar intake. It is important to eliminate fruits, puddings, frostings, and other processed foods with added sugar. Choose fruit that is frozen without added sugar over fruit swimming in sugary syrup. Labels on all processed food will help guide you to avoid things with high sugar content. A product which invites sugar gram per serving under 10 grams is preferable when you see comparisons on other labels of sugar content of 20, 30, 40, and 50 grams per serving. Also notice the size of the serving indicated, which could be 1 or 2 tablespoons for salad dressing, condiments, sauces, or jams, whereas other foods will designate a half cup or a cup serving size. Beverages may use 8 or 12 ounce serving sizes for foods. Reading labels is a simple way to cut back on the intake of sugar and high fructose corn syrup additives. You then eliminate those foods or beverages with excessive grams of sugar in each serving. Reducing the high intake of sugar grams is a very significant step that begins immediately. You may experience craving for sweet products in the first few days of this challenge. Substitute apples, pears, plums, melons, or berries when you feel a desire for a treat. These provide sweetness directly from nature that the body processes differently than a sugar additive. Your brain will recognize this distinction and your body will begin to function in a more healthy way that it was designed to do. This is important, beginning with a big step in the direction of return to vital health and longevity. Congratulations, you are now a Regenera-lifer.